never felt tomorrow closing in this fast. Oh, I guess time's in a rush. Leaves are falling down, but at least they grow back.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to share a great recipe that I found from the New York Times. It's how to make easy classic scones from England. I love my high teas, and scones is always something that I always miss having, so I have to bring it home and make it here myself. So here I have the demonstration. I'll have all the ingredients and the recipe listed in the description box below, but I've just added 2 cups of cake flour or all-purpose flour. It's about 240 grams. And then to that I added half a teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and then 3 tablespoons of castor sugar, which is the really finely granulated sugar that people use for making cakes. So you'll see that I'm sprinkling it in, and you know, this is just meant to be really easy. And then I have a whisk, and I'm just combining the ingredients together because you don't want to have pockets of salt and sugar, you know, in parts of the mix. You want them to be all nicely combined. And then to that I'm going to add chilled cold butter. Make sure it's not at room temperature, but just fresh from your refrigerator, and cut them up into little cubes like so. And by doing this, you're actually going to allow the butter to incorporate into the flour more evenly, so that they just separate much easier. So here we go. We've got around 5 tablespoons of cold butter, or 70.6 grams. And then I like to use a scale because it just makes it a little more accurate. So here's my plate of cold butter, and then we're going to attach the mixing bowl to my KitchenAid. I like to use the KitchenAid to do this for me because it can be a little bit, takes a bit of time if you were to do it by hand, but it can be done by hand. You just have to rub the flour and the butter together until they start looking like sand or breadcrumbs. So here, as I have the mixer going on low speed, I add the butter 2 by 2, 1 by 1, and until the mix of the flour starts to look a little bit like breadcrumbs or like a sandy mixture. And that way you'll know that the butter is well distributed and into the flour, and then you'll get that really delicious buttery scone flavor. So just it takes maybe a few minutes for this to happen, but be patient until you see that the grains of the flour start looking like, you know, damp sand. I think that would be a great way to describe it. All right, so let's add 1 egg and beat it into a separate bowl. So I have a whisk it here, and then we're going to add this to the mixture later. And then we also prepare a separate measuring cup of around half a cup of milk, but we're not expecting to use all of it. We just have it ready. So now we turn on our mixer, and then we're going to pour in the egg until it is all into the flour. Just go on slow speed because you don't want flour all over the place. And then to that we're going to start adding the milk. And I would advise to just slowly stream the milk in so that we don't overdo the milk into the mixture. We just want the dough to come together, to start to stick. So now you can see it's still a little bit dry, a little bit crumbly. But once you start to see the dough come together and stick, then I would stop right there because you don't want it to be too wet. So you can see that it's already clumping together, so I stopped it. And this is a great mix. You just want it a little bit damp and a little bit tacky and sticky, and that's perfect because you want to have really nice, moist, crumbly scones. So I have a baking mat here, and it just saves me time from cleaning my counter because, you know, you want to work on a clean surface. So I just do it on my mat, and then I scoop out my tacky dough. And use flour to help prevent sticking because it just makes it a lot easier. I put some flour on your hand, put some on the mat, put some on the dough, and you'll notice that the dough likes to stick to the bottom. So I'm actually just using my hands to press the dough together, and you can see it sticking on the bottom. So just add a little more flour to that area, and then it should be fine. You can use a rolling pin to roll it out so it's more even, but I like my scones a little more rustic, a little more, you know, just DIY, family, and it's supposed to be, you know, just a perfect snack to have in the afternoon. It takes like only half an hour to put together. And then these little cutters are really great. So you've got the smooth side, and then you've got the flour scallop side. I like to use the scallop side, just makes it look more, you know, fancy. There's a joke that if you use the round side to cut, you're gonna get, you know, your scones will be only like 50 cents each. But if you use the scallop side, then all of a sudden you can charge $2.50. So that's just a little fun trivia. And make sure to flour your cutter, because it will stick to the cutter if you don't flour it. So that's also another great tip I have. And you'll see that as I'm cutting the dough with my cutter, I don't really want to re-roll, or I just put on, you know, the loose bits that are cut off. I just add them back. They'll just stick right back into the dough, and you can just keep on cutting without re-rolling the dough, so that way the less you do to manipulate or massage the dough, the better the scone texture will be after baking. So I'm just adding back the little bits, and you know, making my dough in a better shape so that I can cut my rounds. You want them to be around 1 inch to 1.5 inches tall. That would be nice, because in the end we're going to split them in half when we start to eat them. So yeah, I just keep on cutting the rounds, and with this amount of dough I can pretty much make from 6 to 8 rounds, depending on the size of your cutter. So yeah, you see I've got a little bit there, and I'm just sticking it back on. So it's not meant to be perfect, they're meant to be more rustic, and that's really the best way to eat them. And in this one, technically I don't even need to put it into the cutter, but you know, I just wanted to make sure the shape was uniform so that we won't have some odd size shapes. And then, you know, I'm just gonna bake this on my baking mat here. If possible, you can scoop off any excess flour, and then you'll see that I'm going to glaze the scones with some milk, just the leftover milk that we used from before, and just gently brush it onto the surface of the scones. So now that they're all brushed, then I have altogether 8 scones, and then I'm going to sprinkle it with granulated sugar. So not the caster sugar, but the ones that are a little bit bigger in size, the ones that you would use with your tea and coffee. So just sprinkle it on, and then we're ready to bake. And the oven is now preheated at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. So set the timer for 14 minutes. Depending on your oven, it may range from 14 to 15 minutes, but I find with my oven 14 minutes works really well. And then the timer is up, and here we go. Voila. You can see the steam coming out. It's just amazing golden brown color. If you don't like it so brown, maybe you could take it out of the oven a little bit sooner, maybe 30 seconds sooner, but this is just perfect. Has a beautiful caramelization of the sugar on the top, and very crumbly texture, as you can see. And yeah, and display them. Great for afternoon tea. And then if you can find clotted cream, it goes really well with clotted cream. Unfortunately, where I live here, I can't find that, so I've been using mascarpone cream or cheese, which is also very nice, creamy. It's like a really thick cream, and then serves really well with strawberry jam that I love from Bon Maman. And you can also easily add raisins to your scone mixture. So anyway, here you go. Hope you enjoy this recipe.